Well, it's here. The Ford F-150 Raptor R has finally arrived, and today we're going to tell you everything you need to know about this iconic vehicle. Now, the reason that I call this an iconic vehicle is because it's likely the very first and the last time you're ever going to see Ford do something like this. In a world full of let's electrify this and electrify that, I'm actually shocked that Ford went back to a V8 in the F-150 Raptor. Before we dive into this new version of the Raptor, let's take a walk down memory lane to see exactly how we got here. Back in August of 2009, Ford debuted the 2010 Ford F-150 Raptor. This truck would eventually be known as the Gen 1 Raptor, and it initially offered a 5.4 liter V8, and then they quickly changed that over to a 6.2 liter V8 just a few short months later. Now, that F-150 V8 would eventually go down as one of the most reliable engines that Ford has ever produced. The Raptor offered unique features that were not available in normal F-150s. It had like wider fenders, had a wider track width, even had larger BF Goodrich tires, and the suspension system was capable enough to compete in the Baja 1000. And then when they swapped over in 2015 to the normal F-150, went to a military-grade aluminum alloy body. Again, can you tell that the marketing slogans are still beating into my brain? But anyways, this was an opportunity for Ford to do something special with the Raptor. It took them 2 years to develop it, but Ford eventually revealed the 2017 Ford F-150 Raptor in July of 2016. They forced a V6 into every one of the Gen 2 Raptors. This new 3.5 EcoBoost engine made more horsepower and torque compared to the previous V8, but it never could or would sound like a V8. Now, the rest of the Gen 2 Raptor was extremely solid, an upgraded suspension, upgraded body panels again, and even a beefed up frame for in case you wanted to go take it jumping. But all of those changes and upgrades meant that the F-150 Raptor, it would still be a huge seller even though it sounded like a V6, because it was a V6. When Ford redesigned the 2021 F-150, they knew right away they were going to introduce the Gen 3 Raptor at the exact same year model, the same time as the normal F-150. They revealed that Gen 3 Raptor on February 3rd, 2021. That date is important. I'm going to tell you why here in just a second. I'm going to come back to that. But once again, they beefed up the suspension, bodywork, and this time they even did the interior a good bit. They had a really nice 12-inch infotainment screen and just really took the interior up a notch. But one thing that they didn't change was the engine. They simply took the 3.5, they repurposed it out of the last Raptor and put it in this new one. We'll come back to that here in a second. Now I want to shift gears and I want to talk about the big elephant in the room that is called the Ram TRX. This truck debuted on August 20th, 2020 with a 702 horsepower supercharged Hemi V8. The Ram TRX debuted 167 days before the normal Raptor was revealed. And I think this really caught Ford off guard. I don't think Ford had a clue that Ram was coming to the table with a supercharged V8. And I want you to keep in mind that it takes all of these manufacturers years, not months or days, to develop a new product. So Ford answered the Ram TRX with a very short teaser at the end of the 2021 Raptor reveal video, and it said, and more to come. And that more that is what we're talking about today, the Raptor R. I really believe that the Ram TRX is the only reason Ford greenlit the Ford F-150 Raptor R. So now you know how we got here. Let's talk a little bit about the vehicle itself. The 23 F-150 Raptor R is going to be an incredible vehicle. It's got a 5.2 liter V8 making 700 horsepower at 6,650 RPM and 640 pound-feet of torque. This engine's basically the Predator engine found inside of the Shelby GT500. I am, however, a little bit confused about some of the decisions Ford made with the truck. I mean, why didn't they give it just a little bit more horsepower? This exact same engine makes 760 horsepower inside of the Shelby GT500, and the Ram TRX makes 702 horsepower. Logic would tell you that they would give it a little bit more horsepower. Plus, Ford had an extra 167 days to prepare for this F-150 Raptor R, and I just don't understand why they wouldn't bump up the horsepower by like maybe another 10 horsepower, so at least that way they could claim best-in-class horsepower. but it does take more engineering to make this engine perform in a pickup truck compared to something like the Shelby GT500. Ford Performance upgraded the exhaust manifolds to a cast stainless steel design, and they also have a unique oil cooler and a filter plus a deeper oil pan. All of this allows the Raptor R to climb more aggressive grades, but it also allows you to keep a cooler engine oil temperature. Now, also, let's talk about air for a second. Since you're going to be romping through the desert, you need to make sure you can get plenty of air into the engine itself. And Ford did this by allowing more air intake volume. They increased it by 66% to be exact. It has a wider air intake, and it also has a high flow conical style air filter, something like you'd find on normal performance vehicles as well. But to put all of this newfound power to the ground, Ford has re-implemented the 10-speed automatic transmission, and they're claiming that it has improved calibration. I'm sure there's a lot more specs out there that just haven't been released yet, and there's going to come out in the next few months. But in the meantime, I cannot see how this thing stacks up with the speed with the Ram TRX. But the real race that I'm waiting on is the F-150 Raptor R versus the all-new F-150 Lightning. I think that will be one heck of a race. But I really need to get back to I need to focus. All right, let's get back to the Raptor R. Ford has given us a selectable exhaust system, so that way you can choose a quiet exhaust or a loud exhaust with just the push of a button. And so it's great if you hate your neighbors or if you love your neighbors. You can take care of it both ways. But they do this with a pass-through muffler system and active valves. They can bypass the exhaust system to make it selectable. And the best part is you can even save your favorite setup and access it quickly just by pressing the R button on the steering wheel. This is a great option if you hate or love those neighbors we just talked about. With more power comes more responsibility. Forgive my dad jokes, I know. Ford had to upgrade the driveline to make sure this new engine is not going to start twisting things that it really shouldn't. For instance, the truck has a brand new front axle and a high-strength front carrier. It also has a larger drive shaft that is unique to the Raptor R. It's also got a beefed-up torque converter, which is going to be better equipped to transfer that torque to the transmission. Now, the suspension, let's talk about that for a second. This thing has actually been revised compared to the normal Raptor. In the rear, the Raptor R has a carryover solid rear axle, and it's suspended by coil springs in a really cool 5-link setup. It's basically the same thing out of the normal Raptor. But anyways, the Raptor R does have 24-inch coil springs in the rear, so it's going to allow for a lot more wheel travel. I'm going to cover that here in just a second. But in the front, the Raptor R has an independent front suspension that seems to be carried over from the normal Raptor as well. However, they did update the spring rates to compensate for the heavier front end. The Raptor R has a 5% increase in front spring rate. All in, the Raptor R has 13 inches of wheel travel in the front and 14.1 inches of travel in the rear. All of this beefed up suspension is likely going to handle a little bit different than the normal Raptor since it's got the lighter 3.5 V6. A lot of people like to jump the Raptor, and hopefully this heavier V8 won't cause that truck to go nose down the second you hit a jump. But the good news is that Ford is only claiming this V8 only weighs 80 to 100 pounds heavier than the EcoBoost V6. We shall see. I'm sure my buddy Mike at Autovlog, he'll probably jump his pretty quickly if I had to guess. But anyways, the towing is also upgraded for the Raptor R. Those bigger spring rates are probably the reason the Raptor R now can tow an additional 500 pounds compared to the EcoBoost Raptor. Now, we're talking about 8,700 pounds here of max trailer towing. And if you're curious, the payload is clocking it at 1,400 pounds, which is not bad for a truck designed to run the Baja 1000. The exterior of the Raptor R is going to be very similar to the standard F-150 Raptor, and let's be real, there's not really a whole lot that needed to be changed on that truck. The Raptor has a very distinct styling, and it's noticeable from a long distance away that you're driving something special. I mean, the only real problem I have with the Ram TRX is primarily the appearance, because let's face it, the TRX is actually kind of a cool truck. But let's be real, if I'm going to pay $100,000 to $200,000 on the used market for a Ram TRX, I want everybody else to know that I'm driving something special. But either way, the Raptor R has a larger, more aggressive hood. It's got R badges everywhere. And once again, if you're going to spend that money on that truck, you need to let everybody know it. So anyways, there's also some bedside graphics. And I'm just going to call them stickers for right now. And if this were my truck, the very first thing I would do is remove those stickers. I don't like them. The truck's awesome, don't like the stickers. But I understand there's a lot of people that do like those graphics, and the Raptor R will be available in 8 different colors, including Avalanche Gray and Azure Gray Tricoat. So hopefully those different color choices, you might be able to hide those those stickers a little bit better. Maybe it'll kind of subdue it a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see. But anyways, let's talk about the interior for a second. On the inside of this latest iteration of the Raptor, they've actually upgraded a few things that they want to identify this thing as a R variant of the Raptor. They've got black interior, and it's enhanced by some genuine carbon fiber, and you'll also notice that it's got code orange accents all over the inside. But as far as the seats are concerned, you only have one option, and those are the Recaro seats. They come standard in the Raptor R. Ford is really limiting how you can order this truck. Each and every one of the Raptor Rs is going to come standard with every option under the sun. Basically, you get a choice of color and whether you want the moonroof, and that's pretty much the only thing you can do to tweak the order. But the pricing with all of those options, you're going to be looking at approximately $109,145. That's the MSRP of the vehicle, and that sounds like a lot, but keep in mind that we've already established that used TRXs are going from $100,000 to $200,000. Comment below what you think about the pricing of the F-150 Raptor R. Now, let's talk about the other elephant in the room, the availability. The Raptor R will be extremely limited in production, and here's why. The engine in the Raptor R is based out of the engine found in the Shelby GT500. The reason you don't see more GT500s on the road is because Ford can't build enough of them. And the reason they can't build enough of them is probably because of the engine. At least that's my assumption. The GT500 has a hand-built engine that's built on the niche line of the Romeo engine plant. And those engines are so special that the builder of the engine has their name engraved on a plaque inside of the engine bay. And now this is just a hunch, but I will bet you that the engine will be the single largest supply constraint on the F-150 Raptor R, which is hilarious to me because that's why everybody wants the Raptor R. If you're wanting a Raptor R, you will need to see your local Ford dealer. Ford is not doing some kind of a reservation process like they did with the F-150 Lightning or the Bronco. This is going to get real interesting real quick because how does a dealership pick and choose who gets their very few Raptor R allocations? As much as I don't like it, supply and demand is likely going to set in, and I don't like it, but it's probably going to cause the Raptor R to sell at prices that are way above the MSRP of the vehicle. Time will tell how this method will play out, but before you call and ask, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. By the time you're watching this video, we're probably, our dealership, Town & Country Ford in Bessemer and Pell City, Alabama, we're probably already sold out of the Raptor R, so don't even call us. There's no, save your time. Save your time. But lastly, the F-150 Raptor R is set to arrive in late 2022. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash that like button. We really appreciate you guys for doing that. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, hit us down in the comments below. Smash that like button and go ahead and subscribe to the channel with that bell notification turned on so you don't miss a single video. Peace.